to get real. Oh, we get real a lot, don't we? You're like, oh God, here we go. Another one of them nights, Allie's going to get real. It's going to be one of those conversations that we definitely need to hear. And it might just sting a little bit. And that's okay because we're here to get results. We're not here just to talk about results. We're here to get results. So tonight, we're going to talk about consistency. Consistency. Why? Why are we going to talk about that? Because so many of you are treating the weekend like it's a vacation, ladies, a vacation from your goals. You're on fire Monday through Friday. You're tracking, hitting your macros, getting your workouts in, and feeling good. And then Friday night rolls around and it's like, all bets are off. You stop logging. You're skipping your workouts. And you guys, we just tell ourselves it's the weekend. I'll get back to track on Monday, right? But I want to tell you something. Here's the truth. If you're only consistent 5 days a week, listen to me. If you're only consistent 5 days a week, that's not consistency. It's not. That's convenience. And convenience is not really going to get you results. Consistency gets you results. And that's what we're going to unpack tonight is why should we be consistent? What does it look like for us? And I'll tell you, it was one of the hardest things that I've ever done because I thought the work I was putting in should give me the results that I wanted, to be really honest. And I found that the work I was putting in, though it seemed hard to me and like a lot of work to me, wasn't what it required to get me the results that I wanted. Does that make sense? I had to adjust. I had to adjust my expectancy on what I needed to put in to get out what I wanted. Why did you join Bod Babes? Seriously, why did you join Bod Babes? What was it that made you say, I need this program? Was it because you're tired of feeling uncomfortable in your own skin? Was it maybe because your doctor told you that you need to get your health under control? Something like that? Was it because you're sick of trying and failing and starting over every Monday? And I want you to think about that. What was it that made you say, I'm doing this? Because listen, if you're not staying consistent, you're throwing that reason out the window every single weekend. And if that reason was strong enough to make you sign up, then it's strong enough to keep you on track on the weekends, even on those weekends. Man, getting to my goal, like I told you, getting to my goal required me to be different than what I had done in the past. And I thought I had stepped up my game, right? I did. I thought, man, I stepped up my game. I should be getting these results and I'm not. There must be something wrong with me. But I had to go all in. To be a fit person, you have to do what a fit person does. You have to pay the price that it's going to cost you to get there. And so many times we don't understand that price. We think it's bargain hunt night. We're going to get it for a bargain. But I'm going to tell you the people that are fit, the people you came on here to be like, or your goals, believe me, your goals will take more than what you think. They really do. It takes longer than you think. You know, I've heard Tony Robbins say, people overestimate what they can do in a year. They overestimate it. In a year, I'm going to do this, this, and that. They've got all these big things that they're going to do in 1 year. And when it doesn't happen, they quit. But they underestimate what they can do in 10, right? So when I talk to you about consistency, I want you to reevaluate what you think it's going to take for you to get to your goal. Do you want it bad enough to pay the price for it is the question. You came on at Bod Babes and said, I'm tired of failing. I'm tired of struggling. I'm tired of going in circles. And then when I tell you what it's going to take, you give it your all, sometimes 5 days a week, and then 2 you're off. And sometimes it's not even your all 5 days a week. And then I hear you say, Allie, it's just not working for me. Allie, what do I do? And I'll say, I don't know what you need to do because you're not tracking enough and being consistent enough for me to even look at the data and tell you what to do. Some ladies say, I'm working the plan and the plan's not working. And I look at the plan that they're working and I'll say, and I try not to be rude and I want to tell you the truth. That's not the plan I wrote. So you're working a plan, but that's not the plan I wrote. You're kind of hit and missing it. And that's the truth. If you want something, you've got to go all in for it. If you want to be fit after 40, fit after 50, some of us are 60, some of us here are 70 something. If we want to be fit, we've got to do what it takes to get there. And we can't underestimate what it's going to take us to get to our goal. Being consistent is really critical. I mean, some of you are just frustrated. That's the only word I know to use. Frustrated because you're not seeing the scale move or you're not feeling that big of transformation yet. And you know what? I'm frustrated too. And it's not with you, but I'm frustrated for you because you can't expect, ladies, to see big changes when you're given half the effort. And you wonder why do I got to track this stuff all the time? Why do I got to track my food? It's a pain in the butt. Do I have to do this for the rest of my life? I hear that one too. And no, you don't. But I ask you to track it while you're here because I need to see what your body's doing with the food that you're eating. And if you're not logging that, I don't know what's going on. I can't see the patterns. All right. I can't adjust your macros. I can't help you tweak what's not working because I don't know what you're doing. And you're left spinning your wheels. And ladies, it's not just about tracking. It's about following the plan that we set for you. You came to me because you wanted a certain result. But some of you are out here doing your own thing on the weekends and then wondering, why isn't it working for me? And you're mixing the plan I gave you with your old habits and you expect new results. And that's just not how it works, to be honest. So what are we going to do? How do we fix it? Well, the first thing I would say to do would be to dumb it down. Some of us are just overcomplicating the whole thing, overthinking every single meal, every single snack, and you don't need to. You can eat the same meals every day if that's what it takes to stay on track. Seriously. Repetition, ladies, it's your friend. You know that. It's not boring. It's effective. Okay. It's not boring. It's effective. So if you know you're going to have grilled chicken, rice, and veggies every night for a while, then there's no guesswork. And you're likely not to go off track. That's what your coaches are here for. That's what sample menus are here for. That's what other ladies are here for. If you are having a hard time coming up with some food, man, look at those sample menus. There are so many items in there. And ladies, they don't require a lot of cooking. They don't. They really don't. Look at those things. Use them as a crutch or just go buy them for a while. Just go, I'm going to have this for breakfast. I'm going to have egg bites for breakfast for the next 3 days. All right. That's not going to kill you. Find a way to dumb this thing down. Probably number 2, I would say set non-negotiables. What's one thing that you're not going to compromise on? Is it hitting your protein goal, which it should really be that? I mean, you got to get your calories in. You got to get your protein in. Is it getting your steps in? Is it logging every single bite, no matter what? I want you to pick one thing, and I really want you to make it your non-negotiable for the next 7 days. And you can do that. And I want you to plan for the weekend like you plan for the week. Some of you do great Monday through Friday, and then on the weekend, it's just, It's just all out the window. I'm busy on the weekends, Allie. I don't have the structure like I do when I go to work. I understand that. But I want to be honest with you 100%. You're going to have to get your weekends together. You can't just eat willy-nilly whatever you want on the weekend and just think it's magically going to get you to your goals. We've talked about if you want to have the body of a fit person, you have to do what a fit person does. And if you meet somebody who is very fit, or let's say a competitor or something like that, most of us aren't competing, right? Not at all. But if you meet somebody like that, they are sold out. And their cheat meals happen maybe once a week, maybe not. Some of them I have to beg, go please take a cheat meal because they are so committed, so dedicated to that plan. They want to see results. Plan for the weekend. Don't act surprised when it gets here. You know it's coming. Plan for it. Log your meals in advance. Pack your snacks if you're going to travel. You know, we've talked a lot about how to travel and how to stay on goal. Pack your snacks. If you know you're going to dinner Saturday night, go look at the menu before you get there. Decide what you're going to order before you even get to that restaurant. See, you have the power to set yourself up for success. You really do. And we need to stop using our excuses as armor. And what I mean by that is this, but my husband wanted pizza. But my kids had a party. You know, I was tired, so I deserved a treat. You know what those are? They're excuses. And I get it. We all make them, right? Every single one of us. But excuses don't get you results. Actions get you results. And right now, some of your actions are telling me you want comfort more than you want change. Did you hear that? Your actions are telling me you want comfort more than you want change. Change is going to require something different from you. I want you to own your choices. Listen, if you decide to go off plan, I want you to own it. I don't want you to act like it didn't happen. I want you to log it, okay? I want you to track it. And I want you to learn from it because until you can get honest with yourself about what you're actually doing, you can't change it. And I can't help you either. I've got to have the data. So I'm going to ask you again, what would it feel like to actually stick to your plan for 7 days? No breaks. Now you have a cheat meal in there, right? No oops, I forgot stuff. No pretending the weekend doesn't count. Just pure focus for 7 days. And I want you to think about that feeling. And I want you to think how proud you'd be. I want you to think about how much confidence you'd feel when you went to bed on Sunday night knowing you did the work. That feeling, ladies, that right there, that's what you're chasing. Not the quick high of a Friday night binge. It's not what you're chasing. It's not. You know, I've told you ladies so many times that I thought when I went out with my friends, all my girlfriends, that I had to drink and I had to eat the snacks or I wasn't going to have fun. That's what my mindset was. I'm like, I just might as well not even go because it's just going to be boring. They're all going to be eating their snacks and drinking their drinks and it's going to be boring. And I went and I felt like, oh, God, they're all ordering their drinks. They're all ordering their snacks at Applebee's. And I was just like, I'll have the water and I'll have, you know, just like all this stuff I was doing. And my friends were like, oh my gosh, Allie, why are you doing that? And I'm like, I'm on a diet. That was my mentality. And I realized that I went home one day after doing that quite a couple times. And then I was like, I just can't do this. I just can't change my life. It's just no fun. And it hit me one time. It was like, huh. I think I could have fun without alcohol and pizza bites. I really think I might could. I've had fun before without the alcohol and the cheese sticks and the wings. And I've had fun before. Why am I telling myself I'm not going to have fun? I think it's on my mindset. So I went to our next girls' outing and I had a plan. And I thought, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. I'm not going to let the girls feel sorry for me. I'm just going to order and just act like it was normal, right? I want to see what they do. And if they say something, I'm going to be like, oh, it's nothing. I just, this is what I just wanted to stick with tonight. We're still going to have fun, ladies. Let's just have fun and laugh it off, right? And that's what I did. And I went home that night. I had succeeded. That was my first success. And I was like, oh my God, I am so proud of myself. I cannot believe I did this and I still had fun. That was a breakthrough for me. And you know what I found? It was all right here. It was all up here in my head. So ladies, we're chasing the feeling of putting in the work and being successful, not the quick high of a Friday night binge, not the temporary comfort of saying, listen, I'm going to start again on Monday. You know what that feels like? It feels like I can't do this. It's that mental drain of, ugh, you know? What is the feeling of actually keeping your word to yourself? It's a good feeling. Oh my gosh, ladies, it rebuilds confidence in yourself. So what's it going to be? I want to ask you, are you serious about results or are you just comfortable with where you are? Listen, your actions are answering that question every single day. Your actions. So here's what I want you ladies to do. I want you to get out a piece of paper after this meeting, or even right now, if you're not driving or walking somewhere, get out a piece of paper. And I want you to write down the one area where you're falling short for consistency. Just one. All right. Is it in your tracking? Is it in hitting your protein? Is it in getting your workouts in? Whatever it is, I want you to write it down. Okay. That's the first thing. Then I want you to write down one action step that you're going to take to fix it. Just one. And I want you to do that one thing for the next 7 days. No excuses, no breaks, and no exceptions. Because ladies, the only way to build consistency is by doing it, and doing it even when you do not feel like it. You're here at Bod Babes for a reason. And you're the one that said you wanted change. You're the one who signed up. Listen, you're the one who signed up for a reason. But saying you want change isn't enough. You have to do it. And that's the difference between women who get results and the women who are spinning their wheels. So I want to ask you tonight, are you in? I want you to ask yourself, are you in? Am I going to do what it takes to stay consistent? Or am I just going to keep checking out? Am I just going to keep making excuses? Excuses are valid. But am I going to allow myself to fail again? Ugh. Am I going to allow myself to fail again and use my excuses to allow myself to fail? Or am I actually going to commit? Am I actually going to commit? Quit checking out on all the weekends and wondering and being frustrated as to why am I stuck? And here's the thing, it's your call. It's 100% your call. But I want you to remember every choice you make is either taking you closer to your goals or it's getting you farther from your goals. There's no middle ground. No kind of committed. I'm kind of committed. You're going to kind of get results and you're not going to kind of get the results you want. You have to commit. Either you're in or you're not. Is it easy? No, it's not easy to get to your goals. Is it hard? Yes. But you signed up for something different. You said you don't want to be the ordinary 40 50-year-old. You came here for a reason. You don't want to be the ordinary 50-year-old that just sits back and lets life happen. Do you guys know? I've heard so many excuses. I've heard so many. And some of the worst ones I hear are people with type 2 diabetes or another disease that they can basically help themselves if they just commit to something new. And even with type 2 diabetes or some other disease that changing their nutrition can really change their life, it's still not rock bottom enough for them to commit. And that's one of the saddest things I see. And I see it almost every single day. This weekend on Saturday, I had some woman call me random out of the blue. And she said, Allie, I'm pre-diabetic. I'm over 200 and something pounds. I'm 5'2" or 3. And she said, I'm scared. I think it was her grandmother died of complications due to type 2 diabetes. And she said, Allie, I spend more on supplements than I spend on your program, trying to get myself well. And we talked about it. I told her about how having type 2 diabetes can take 15 years off of your life on average. That's on average. And then I'm going on age 58 myself, and she was only 41.
Oh,
And I said this, I said, you know what? I said, if the average woman in America lifespan is, I believe it's 76. Ugh. And if I was to allow myself to get type 2 diabetes, then I'll be 58. I want you to think about that. I would be getting close to the end of my life on average. But do you know that that woman did not sign up? She did not. But see, I see that every day. Now, see, you ladies have came on, and maybe some of you don't have that type of issue at all. You just want to be fit, have more muscle. You want to be active when you get older. You want to grow old and just be active, look good, and feel good. Those are goals of yours, but it's going to require commitment. Building muscle, that requires a real commitment. You have to give it more than you think it takes to get to your goal. I'll tell you, ladies, you came here for a reason. Getting to your goal is hard, but did you think it was going to be easy? Ask yourself that question. Did you really think that getting a fit body or a toned body was just going to be easy? No. There is no magic pill for that. There really isn't. And just coming on a Bod Babes and doing half the program isn't going to get you there. You have to go all in, because maybe you have insulin resistance, or maybe you've been eating low calorie for a long time and your body has just adjusted to those low calories, and it's not going to let you lose body fat. It's going to fight against you all the whole time you're here, unless I know what you're doing. And you've got to track. And here's the thing, it doesn't just help me help you, but it also helps you understand what your diet should look like. And so if you're not going all in and just going out and doing your own thing on the weekends, ladies, it's going to be rough to get results. So what I want to hear from you ladies, when I put this in the group here in just a little bit, is what is the one thing that you're going to lock in for the next 7 days? What are you going to do to make sure that you're consistent? 7 days a week. You get a cheat meal. All right. But 7 days a week, get consistent. That's what it's going to require of you. It really is. And you're worth it. And that feeling that you get from accomplishing your goal, oh my gosh, that is one of the best feelings that you will ever have. I heard this said before, the best bodies cannot be bought. They just cannot. When you look at people's bodies and you think, oh my gosh, look at that muscle tone. That wasn't bought. That was earned. And most people are not willing to pay the price for that. But so many of you say you want it, and now you're going to have to do what it takes to get it. And you can do it. You can, but it's not going to be convenient. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be a fight in your own mind. It's going to be building new habits. It's going to require consistency, day in and day out. Is it too hard for you? No. It's going to push you. Like I said, it's going to require something of you that you've never given before. But I will tell you this, it's worth it. It's an accomplishment. When people look at you, when you get to your goal and they say, Sarita, you're just lucky. Sarita will be like, no, I worked for this. They don't even know how many years you worked for it. I've been told, it's just genetics. That's just genetics. Not really. Did you see my genetics? That was genetics. This right here is hard work. It's consistency. It's discipline. It's going to the gym when I did not want to go. It's going out with my friends and not drinking and eating all the crap that I thought I wanted. But see, I wanted my goal more than I wanted that drink. I wanted my goal more than I wanted those potato skins filled with cheese, sour cream, and all the stuff and chives, right? I wanted my goal more than I wanted that stuff. To be in a healthy body is an accomplishment. When I turned 56, I bought myself a Corvette at age 56. And at age 51, I made $11.20 an hour. I didn't own nothing except for the clothes on my back and a curling iron of all things, right? and that's about it. I had a borrowed car. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a pillow. I didn't have a pillowcase. I didn't have a cup. I owned nothing. That's it. And I worked at Kroger 20 to 30 hours a week for $11.20 in the year 2020, 5 years ago. Ugh, it was tough. No insurance, nothing. And I was sad for myself. And I thought, this is it. My life is over. I'm 50, 51 years old, and I cannot change my life. There's just no hope for me now. I'm too old to start again. I saw myself as just failing. That's all I can say, just failing. I didn't know what was going to happen as I aged, when I got older. How was I going to take care of myself? Was I going to even get Social Security? I'd been an independent musician for all these years. Am I even going to have Social Security just to live on that? That wouldn't pay even rent, right? All these crazy things in my mind. What am I going to do? And I felt like a complete failure. I felt like giving up, completely giving up. I thought about for a second even ending my life because I did not know what I was going to do. I didn't know some days really how I was going to pay for my lunch or at work or have anything for lunch. And so I'd packed my lunch and I had a coach. I got a coach, believe it or not. I hired a coach. It wasn't very much money, but he coached competitors and he worked with me really cheap. He knew my situation and he just told me, eat this, this, and this every day. And so I would sit out in my son's work car that I took to work every day. And I would sit out there and I ate my cold whitefish and my cold asparagus that was in a container all together. And I did that day in and day out. And I remember the first day that I did it, I started to gag. I started to get sick. I'm sitting in my car and I didn't have it running. It was hot because I couldn't let it sit there and idle. I didn't want to eat in the break room because I didn't want people question, why are you eating that? Asparagus and whitefish stinking up the whole break room. I didn't want to do that. So I just ate it sitting in my car on my half-hour break at Kroger. And I remember I started to gag. Like I said, sorry, ladies, but I did. And I told myself, Allie, you can do this. And that was rough for me. And every day I would pack my lunch, make my breakfast, and pack my lunch, breakfast and lunch, same time in the morning, and eat that on my lunch hour. And it was tough, but I wanted it. That's what it took me, you know? And that was the commitment that I made. And I understand having fun. I understand it. But when you really want it, it looks a little different. When you really want it. I was fighting for myself in every area of my life, fighting for myself. I was going to the gym, working out, and Wade, he had changed so much. And I fell in love with Wade. I met him at the gym, fell in love with Wade, and he was a butcher. Some of you don't know this story, but he was a butcher and he made $16 an hour in 2020. 16.75, I think. No insurance, all the same thing. Started his life over. And he just had big goals. One of the first things I ever saw of Wade was him standing in a gym, going live on Facebook. And ladies, he was looking up at the wall and he said, one day I'm going to be up on that wall. And on that wall was all these champions of physique. And he said, one day they're going to put my picture up on that wall. And he was 50 years old. And I thought, oh my gosh, this guy's inspiring, you know? I did everything I could to run into him at the gym. I was full makeup, hair looking good. Show up like this, looking like an angel, just trying to meet him. And finally, one day I walked past him and I'm like, there he is. I just casually walked past and I said, hi. And I just kept on walking. And he was with his friend Shane, who just passed away at the end of last year. And he said, hi. I was like, whoa, he's cute. And from there, we changed our lives and we were so committed. We're still really committed to what we eat every single day. We're committed to working out. But I'll tell you, those disciplines that we built right there, ladies, allowed us to start a company that has helped men and women across the globe change their lives, that has helped women come off of metformin for type 2 diabetes to reverse type 2 diabetes, that's brought people's cholesterol down and them able to come off cholesterol meds, statins. We saw marriages healed because of a woman, Gina, said, if I can do this, I think I can fight for my marriage. How crazy is that? To seeing women like Susan at age 72 going to the Marine Corps graduation and doing 50 push-ups. It's just, we got to be part of lives like this, seeing lives change. Sarita right here too came off 5 medications. Gosh, it's crazy to see the things that have happened. And you know what? We're all here together and we should inspire each other. But I hope the stories that I tell inspire you and those around you, like Susan and Sarita, will just inspire you that you can do this. If Susan can do that at 72 years old, listen to me. And Sarita can do that by just being so consistent. And Wade could do it. And me, if I did it, anybody could do it. I had every reason to give up on myself and not fight. But I got so low that I said, I'm rock bottom here. And I'm going to give up and quit or I'm going to fight. And I chose to fight. And I challenge you today, fight for what you came here to get. Fight. Be consistent. You're worth fighting for.